We've talked about this a lot. This has been a topic of conversation on a lot of forums in a lot of different ways, and that is when the final Antichrist effectively accomplishes what we read about in the book of Revelation, there will be a lot of contributory variables that will push into that very moment. Now, thank God we won't be here for that moment, but it is important to note where it's going, because we are undoubtedly living in a world that is pointing us in that direction. Forget about the guys who call themselves Christian leaders, like John Piper, who are looking for a Christian version of AI made in the image of God. That's a whole other crazy thing that we'll talk about on a completely different show that's probably an hour long. But we are also looking at a time when they will look to take over different forms of freedom, like transportation, for example. That's why you see the big move for electric vehicles, and that's why I am looking at an article right now that is entitled, ready for this? Fully autonomous passenger planes are inching closer to takeoff. Folks, that is not a joke. This is what the article says. It says, the world's biggest commercial aircraft makers seem increasingly convinced that autonomous passenger flight is a question of when, not if. Flying today's high-tech passenger jets is often a matter of setting up and overseeing their autopilot and other automated systems. But we're not yet at the point where computer systems can entirely replace human pilots. Now, autonomy is going to come to all of the airplanes eventually. This is a quote, by the way, from Boeing CEO Dave Calhoun as he spoke to Bloomberg TV at an event this last week, making the delivery of the last commercial 747. Folks, he says this: the future of autonomy is real for civil aviation. And folks, if you want to take a moment to look at Boeing, they've got a rival Airbus, which of course we talk about, that has been testing a suite of advanced autonomous flight systems. Things are changing. They are changing very quickly. Don't get me started on the project in California that's actually called XWing, which of course is a shout out to Star Wars fans, but it really does center around a series of autonomous flights that involve space. Yes, folks, I think that what all of this is creating the ability for any totalitarian regime that has control over this through the global private sector. Remember what Prince Charles says, now King Charles, a vast military-style campaign to marshal the strength of the global private sector.
Here we need a vast military-style campaign to marshal the strength of the global private sector.
I think that all of this is an assembly of the type of tools that will eventually develop the kind of totalitarian regime that creates a mechanism of absolutism to usher in the world of the final Antichrist. Folks, it's going there. And I know that technology is cool, and I am not against technology, right? Teslas have saved a lot of lives, and there's a lot of stuff that's there. But I want you to understand where it's going. It is going into the region of removing our freedoms. And we need to wake up, folks. We need to be aware of what's going on. Remember, Christ can come for his church at any minute. Times are changing, so let's wake up. God bless you guys.